Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. My name is John Moody. I live in Worcestershire, and we're here tonight to share some experiences of the Super Patch, or AKA VoxLife technology. I came across it 3.5 years ago now, probably. I was at a networking meeting, bumping into somebody I hadn't seen for a while, who started telling me about wearable neurotechnology and then magic socks. And I was thinking, really? And then he said, they're great for golf. I thought, okay, I better find out a bit more. So I found out a bit more. Along the way, I found that the inventor of the technology, Jay Dhaliwal, had intended to try and find something that would help his mother, who was diagnosed with MS when he was a teenager. And that became a kind of life's mission for him, to do something that would help her. He fortunately became financially independent when he was 29, sold a business, and that gave him time and money to research neurology. And out of that came this technology. And although I'd had some improvements myself, I'd got a stiff right hip, and it freed up so that I was able to enjoy my golf more. I was more interested in seeing what else this technology might do. I went to see a friend of mine who has MS. She'd had a fall a couple of years earlier, and she was very wobbly on her legs. It had really bashed her confidence. And we went in and had a little conversation with her. She was needed a walking stick. In anything she did, just moving across the kitchen to put the kettle on, etc., required a walking stick. Such was her lack of confidence in her stability on her legs. Yet 15 minutes later, after I'd explained a bit about the technology, she was standing in the middle of the kitchen floor with her arms wide, big smile on her face, swinging around, going, wee. And that did an awful lot to relieve my skepticism. You may be hearing about this for the first time, and if you are skeptical about this technology, please don't worry. We've all been there, and it's a process that we go through. And hopefully by listening to some of our experiences, that'll help you deal with it as well. So that's how I first got introduced to it. So Stuart, perhaps you'd like to share your opening view of the technology.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, John. So thanks for starting the meeting today. So one of the things that struck me was how driven by science I am. So when this fella called John Moody rang me out of the blue and said, "Hey, Stuart, you're a golf mind coach. I've got this new technology coming from Canada that's helping golfers to hit the ball further, straighter, longer, feeling more energy, more power, blah, blah, blah." Can't remember the words. And I said, "That sounds interesting. What is it?" He said, "It's socks." I said, "John, what are you doing? I don't believe you for a second. What the hell are you doing here?" Anyway, he said a bit more about it. He said there's a 30-day money back guaranteed trial. I thought, let's give it a go. See what happens. What's the worst thing that could happen? I've got some socks. So anyway, tried the socks for a while. After 2 weeks, John rang me and said, "How are you getting on?" He said, "These are rubbish. They don't work. It's a scam. I want my money back, please." He said, "Well, are you sleeping with them on?" "No. Why would I sleep with socks on? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." "Well, we did say about you wearing them 24/7. "Ah, 24/7. Got you. Night as well." He said, "Yeah, that's when the magic happens." And I thought, well, okay, let's give that a go. I've been in the Arctic Circle. I've been in very cold areas. I've never worn socks in bed at night. But I thought, let's give it a go. First night, tried them on, socks on my feet, rubbish sleep. Second night, had the most amazing dreams, and really melodramatic, and every psychedelic color you could imagine in this whole thing, and woke up the next morning feeling really good. Next night, same thing again, the most amazing dream and great quality sleep. And I said to John, that's very interesting. What's happening here? And he said, well, it's when your brain is resting that you get the best results, blah, blah, blah. And the thing that I found was that I was living what I thought to be a normal life. I had nothing majorly wrong with me, no stiff hips or anything else like this. Been in the Royal Air Force for 22 years, quite fit at the time. But I noticed that actually my memory improved. Then I noticed that my hearing quality improved. And then I noticed that I was performing better in the gym and not having aching muscles the next day. And that's the point at which I started to look at a little bit more into this technology. So that was kind of my start point into it, of being completely skeptical about the whole thing, and then suddenly finding myself intrigued enough to find out more. And that's my start point. So what I thought we'd do is I'll give you a little slideshow to show you a little bit about the technology, and then we can have a bit of a question and answer session at the end if we've piqued your interest. Now, I know this talk was advertised as being a pain management talk, but I think it's really important to cover the background to it and how it works in detail before we talk in any great detail about the pain management, because that's part of the genesis of where we came to as an organization. And as John so eloquently described beforehand, Jay Dhaliwal has come on a long journey, a lot of investment of money to get where we are right now. So I shall try to share my screen. I normally mess this up, but let's give it a go, see how we get on. Is that now working? Have you got the big screen?
Looks good.
Cool. Now, one thing I must do is get the sound on. Okay, so in terms of the where we are now as an organization, this started off with simply insoles and then socks, and then it morphed into a little bit of some patches, and now we're starting to rebrand as the Super Patch Company, because what we found is that by wearing this technology on our bodies, it's interrupting the nervous system. But I'll allow Jay to explain a little bit more in a few moments on a video. So Super Patch Company. As Steve Jobs has said so graciously in the past, let's not worry about the past. Let's focus on what's happening in the future. And I guess that he would rather have been introduced to some technology that would help his health, rather than investing his money on all the technology that he happened to invest in, and worry about all those sort of things. So let's think about what we can do in the future instead of worrying about the past. Now, technology, the word technology is an often misunderstood phrase or word. Technology basically means it's science coming together with people, which gives us the ability to use the science for people. So technology is a merging together of the abstract world of science and the human nature, which we can work together. So technology has been a massive boom industry, generally over the past 30 odd years, or the past 25 years. You can see some of the logos on there: Apple, Google, Meta, Amazon, Tesla, and Microsoft have all been massive booming organizations in the technology arena. And that's the arena in which we're working. And innovation, as it says in the bottom of the slide there, is the driving force behind every major economic success. I think you can not deny that. So here's Jay Dhaliwal to explain in his own words how this technology works. Jay, please explain.
Hi, everyone. It's Jay with Super Patch. I hope everyone's having a great day. People always ask me, Jay, how do these super patches work? So today I'm going to give you guys a high-level explanation. So first things first, every physical, emotional, psychological function has a corresponding neurocode in our brains. And these neurocodes are just messages, sometimes get stuck or damaged for a million and one reasons, but that leads to poor health, poor wellness, and even poor performance. So after 12 and a half years of research at Super Patch, we actually decoded these messages, decoded the neural code that can help and control the neural function of physical, emotional, and psychological function. So every single Super Patch has a pattern and ridges in it. And when these ridges come in contact with our skin, the patch uses the receptors in our skin to send that message to our brain. And the brain decodes it. Every single super patch is generating a very specific signal that's responsible for a physical, emotional, psychological function. And that's how the super patches work. So all these super patches have their unique QR code that's sending a unique message that our brain decodes. And that's why we can help with so many wellness, performance, benefits that people are seeing. So until next time, you guys have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jay. And so certainly I found that wearing these patches, and it's simply a 2-inch by 2-inch square patch with the, as Jay put it, the QR code. Not exactly how it works, but it's a good enough explanation to help you to understand. So with this simple patch on our body, these are some of the benefits that people are seeing. So all those things you can read from the screen. Some of the ones on there that are really important are immunity, quality of life, focus, energy, balance, and stability. There are some excellent studies out there which talk about balance and stability being an indicator of longer life. If you think about strength of hand grip, this sort of thing, the stronger your hand grip is, the more indicator it is you're going to live for longer. So if you can get better mobility, range of motion, and better exercise and sport performance, it's an indicator of better quality of life. So therefore, if you can improve those things, it's got to be good, right? And one of the ones that that I really enjoy, as probably do most people, is restful sleep. So we found that we have 2 products that work really well with sleep. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about those in due course. So what do we have? Well, in terms of what people really want, we have a drug-free solution. There are no drugs, there's no drugs, no chemicals, no magnets, nothing invasive in these patches whatsoever. They're completely drug-free. They're non-invasive and they're easy to use. It's as simple as sticking a patch onto your arm or any other part of your body. And yes, you can wear them on any part of your body. And I tend to say to people, anywhere below the neck, because the neck is where your connectors all happen. So that, as you can see on my chart behind me, the limbic system down here is where the brain stem is where the spine meets up with the head, and therefore that's the connector that makes sense. Quick and reliable, they act within a few seconds, and we can actually show how somebody's balance changes within a few seconds. And you'll see a small demonstration video in a little while. Child safe, pregnancy safe, anybody can use them, no lifestyle changes, and they are affordable. Why the super patch? Basically, we've spoken to all sorts of neuroscientists. We've had research laboratories testing things for us. And the commonly held thought is this is the biggest and most disruptive technology breakthrough in health and performance in the last 50 years. And we also have no competition. So when you think about some of the products that are out there, it's either invasive in terms of a drink, a lotion, a potion, it's magnets, it's stimulation of some sort, it's invasive. We have the ability to access people's brains in a very positive way without invading the body whatsoever. And we can certainly recommend it to anybody in terms of the target audience. So let's have a look at this technology in progress. So in this particular video I'm going to show you, this is a few months ago in Alabama during a demonstration. This young lady, Brandy, in Alabama, she had been up and down these stairs a few times before this video was shot. But anyway, I'll let her explain what happened in her own words. And you can see exactly how quickly it can act, and the astonishing, quite typical result for Brandy.
How many years have you had an issue going up and down the stairs? 43 or 46.
Utterly amazing was her phrase to use there, and I don't know if you spotted what she also said as well, was that normally when she walks up and downstairs that many times, she's in pain, and I think you can see from the look on her face that she's not in any pain at this stage. And obviously she had 2 demonstrations before that, before she was videoed. So she had the patch on, patch off, patch on, patch off. And this is her 3rd time of looking into it. And we find this is very typical of the kind of reactions we see from people with this technology. And I've certainly had an example of a chap who had a walking stick, He was sitting next to me in a meeting, and I said, "Do you mind me asking about your walking stick?" "Yeah, had it for 10 years. I can't walk without it." "Do me a favor, try this patch on, see how you get on." And literally within a few seconds, he said, "Do you think I could walk without the stick?" I said, "I can't tell you to do it or not to do it. It's your choice." I said, "I'll stand beside you just in case." And he went walking, came back again, walked up, and he shook his head and he said, "And also my head feels clear for the first time in years as well," because he had vertigo. And he just said, I can shake my head. I can walk. Wow. So these are not just one result. This is very typical of some of the results we're seeing with people. So what we have is a range of super patches, which all do slightly different things. And we'll go through each one of them in a short bit of detail, one by one. So the pain patch, the reason for the call today is that the pain patch helps people to deal with pain. So according to the UK's National Institute of Health and Care Excellence, which we call NICE, which is the authorization regulation authority for the National Health Service, according to them, 10 million people in the UK are affected by chronic pain. And when you look at the figures in North America, it's even more staggering. So approximately 17% of people in the United Kingdom take some sort of pain relief drug or medication. Now, we conducted a trial in the last few months, which has been published in the Anaesthetic and Pain Review or Research document just this last month, where 148 people were under medical guidance from doctors, had the pain patch. This is a different patch, but they had the pain patch applied to them. And within 14 days, statistically proven, every single person had a reduction in their pain, and they also had a reduction in terms of the amount of medication they were taking. Again, it was under medical supervision, so the doctors were able to advise them to take less medication as and when required. So that was an astonishing standout performance by this new pain patch. So that's just one of the patches we have available to us. Next one is sleep. According to the National Health Service, 1 in 3 people in the UK affected by insomnia, which can cause all those knock-on effects. So if you can't sleep properly, your body's not recovering properly. So what the REM patch does is it helps you to transition between deep sleep, REM sleep, light REM sleep, and the awaking state as well, both sides of those things. So it helps you to naturally go through those cycles. And we have people with Apple Fitbit watches on that can monitor those results. So we know it's not just a made up hypothesis. So that's the REM patch. That's my second favorite one, by the way. Stress. 7 out of 10 people, according to UK stats, report high levels of stress. There are lots of stressors available, and some of them are listed on the slide there. You can obviously name some more like poor media or outrage or invasions of countries and this sort of thing. So what we find is that this helps people to cope with stressful situations. And again, I've got customers and people I've spoken to that have recorded this feeling themselves. This is my favorite patch. So this is the Defend patch, which is this one here. This Defend patch has personally helped my immune system. So I used to have allergies to horsehair, cat hair, dog hair, tree pollen, grass pollen, surprisingly not mold, but house dust, definitely. Oh, Julie's on the call. Julie, don't tell my wife, but I can now cope with house dust without turning into a quivering wreck. So what I normally do is I say to her, "Oh no, I'm allergic to house dust. I can't possibly clean. Please don't tell her." So this has been great for me. And we've also seen live studies of blood samples on stage where a practicing doctor has been taking blood samples. 2 hours later, after wearing this patch, we've seen the blood cells quality and also the declumping effect of the blood cells improve within 2 hours. And we've done other trials which have shown that within 24 hours, the blood cells go back to looking as best they possibly can. The patch does nothing. It's the brain that does it, and the brain controls the blood flow. So that's a stunning thing. And I can now go up to a dog and sniff its fur without sneezing, turning into a sneezing mess myself. Don't recommend it. Get moving. So this helps people's balance, stability, coordination, stamina, energy, and lots of other things as well. One of the shocking things I've discovered recently was that according to UK government, 250,000 60-plus-year-olds hospitalized by a fall every year, which is the leading cause of injury in older people. And of those people, a third of them that have a hip fracture have a 1-year mortality, as in they die within a year of getting a hip fracture. So if we can keep more old people on their legs, more stable, more dynamic, more supported and balanced and coordinated, then that's got to be a good thing. So that's what this patch is all about, the Liberty patch. It's also the one that works best for general purpose. This is the one that I absolutely adore, and this was my first point of entry into these technologies. Flow. The Flow patch is specifically designed for people with ADHD, ADD, and also some elements of cognitive decline. So what we find is that, again, we've got testimonial videos of people showing that a child is going into a brainstorm activity and being very disruptive. Put the patch on and we can see within a few minutes that the child will just calm down and be able to rationally and confidently talk about their problems in terms of homework or anything else like this. Victory patch. Victory patch is for sports people. So we have some sports people, particularly in North America. We've got Olympic athletes, we've got national sports stars, all of whom have had improved reactions to wearing this patch. We have a whole football, it's called in North America, a whole football coaching setup where the head coach of a bunch of quarterbacks in Texas is training all of his quarterbacks for the NFL, and he's got all of his quarterbacks in there to start wearing the patches and show their best performance. But there's a massive market within the sports performance area for these items of technology as well. Focus. This is designed for people like myself. I don't have ADD, I don't think. Squirrel. I don't have ADD or anything else like that. Stupid joke, I know. But sometimes my brain's not really focused. So what I find is that when I wear this patch, it just helps my brain to just sharpen up a little bit and be able to concentrate on the individual task in hand. It's great for children at school. So if you know either teenagers that are going through exams or older than teenagers going through university diplomas, college courses, whatever, this is a great thing for them to try as well. And the last one at the moment is this patch called the Ignite patch, which has been shown to increase your resting metabolic rate by up to 25% to help you lose weight when you're just doing nothing or just carrying out your normal activities. And there are 2 new patches coming up in the near future, both of which are very exciting. And there's one called Kick It, which is for addictions. And there's another one called the Joy patch, which I'm going to call the Happy patch, which changes your mood state from a sad state into a more happy state. So I'm particularly looking forward to those coming in the next 6 weeks, which will be amazing. So combining all those target areas together, if you like, we have a $4.5 trillion market opportunity for these patches and all these people. We know it all works because we've seen lots of studies. I know these items on the screen will be too small to see, but with things like improved balance and stability, we're seeing a 31% improvement. Range of motion, we're seeing 15 degrees. And John talked before about the friend of his that was moving from side to side. We've seen that time and time again with the demonstrations. Power, velocity, eccentric force, and concentric force, we're seeing an improvement in all those areas as well. And it's the data we've seen has shown, as it says at the bottom of the slide there, seen an improvement in pain, stiffness, and physical function. Improvement in pain means bringing it down. So just out of curiosity's sake, just in case anybody is thinking about joining this mission to help 1 billion people worldwide, I'll mention this because there's something really important inside this. You can join as an affiliate or an associate for only £50 within the UK, $50 within USA and Canada. You'll have access to a business, you'll have access to 25% discount plan, blah, blah, blah. And at the bottom, you'll also get £75 worth of free super patches so you can start your business ASAP. But if you think about it, actually, if you spend £50, join as an affiliate and associate, you'll get £75 worth of products for free, and you'll also get a business thrown into it as well. So I think it's worth considering if you are looking into wearing these products, then that is an option to consider. So what we ask is that people who, if you're on the call today, speak to the person that invited you to the call and let them talk you through the whole advantages, the pros and the cons, the pricing system, and everything else like that. In terms of an advantage for yourself, you can earn 25% straight away off your personal sales, and you can also have rank advances and bonuses. Don't worry too much about the detail. It's just to let you know that more money is available should you decide to join and take part in the scheme. And basically, you can earn between 2 and 15% on your whole organisation if you decide to join with us and start a team up. So the question for you really is, do you know people with problems sleeping? Do you know problems with people that have got problems with chronic pain, dealing with stress, want to protect their health, ADHD, cognitive decline, energy and mobility requirements, who need more focus in their life, want a performance benefits, want a drug-free solution, more importantly, rather than going around with like a maraca full of drugs and medication, or want to manage their weight, because we have a super patch for all of those different things. So there we have a very quick canter through some of the pros, cons, benefits of this technology. So at this stage, John, floor's yours.
Thank you, Stuart. Has anybody, what we'd like to do now is just see if anyone's got either any questions or any experiences to share with us to build on what we've had before. So can I open it to the floor? Has anybody got a question or a story to share? Just unmute and take the floor if you have.
Can I just ask a question? What's the difference between the focus patch and the patch for the, the ones that have got ADHD, ADD that help concentrate?
Okay. Right. So the flow patch is the one that's to help people cognitively and people with ADHD. It addresses 5 cognitive networks in the brain: the executive function network, the memory function, memory network, the information flow network, the mood network, and the attention network. Whereas the focus patch addresses the attention network only. So it is specifically focuses about concentration and for people working, studying, people working who work on, people who work close work on a screen or on spreadsheets and stuff like that, all for hours on end. Is that kind of situation?
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. I've got a little story I'd like to tell if that's okay. That happened actually this week. It's fresh in my mind. Somebody who's we've known. We used to live in another village, 10 minutes away from here, and a guy we've known 20 odd years happened to ring us up a few days ago and said about some other matter, and during the course of the conversation he happened to say that he was struggling a bit and he was having trouble with his balance, and so I said, Maurice, I think I know something that might help you. So I went round to see him the next day. He'd actually had a couple of falls in the last 12 months. He'd been sent for a variety of tests and so on. They've not been able to diagnose any particular problem that he may have, but he's was very worried about it. So I showed him the difference that this technology could make, and it was instant. And you could just see on his face what a huge difference it made. And then the following day he went off to his exercise class. He goes to one of these seniors classes for balance and strength, and was telling everybody there what a difference it made. I've now got a meeting with the lady who runs those classes next week to share a bit more about this technology, and maybe because she's running classes all over the place, that might well end up with a lot more people being helped. But just amazing that he's been going for all these tests all this time, and in just a few seconds we just gave him his balance back and made him feel comfortable and confident again.
Brilliant. Thanks for sharing that, John. That's amazing. It's always really really heartwarming when you experience things like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that in itself is to me worth more than any money that I can get from selling the items to people. Brilliant. And it's really important, folks, by the way, that if you wish to try these products, you should speak to the person that introduced you to the call tonight. We also make no claims whatsoever that these products can fix, detect, or cure any named diseases. It's purely the brain that does that. We help the brain to get to the best optimized state so the brain can do the work on that. So these products in themselves do not do any of those medical conditions. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm just going to stop the video, but please hang on if you have any further questions.